Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Farm and Pastor's Wife. I'm so glad you're here. My name's Leslie. Welcome to my kitchen down on the farm. Today we're making freezer meals, breakfast freezer meals. I don't know how many we'll get done, but we're going to do freezer meals. I'll explain more as to why, the thought process behind it, and everything as soon as we come back from the intro. Hey, hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. I would greatly appreciate it.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside.
Okay, so some of you may be wondering, why in the world are you, Leslie, a grandma who is an empty nester with only her husband, and why are you doing freezer meals? Well, let me just explain. This week, something really super sad to me, but yet a happy thing, but kind of sad to me, happens. Judabug, my oldest grandbaby, goes for his kindergarten registration. Now, he probably, we know we won't start kindergarten until August, but his mom goes to work really super duper early. Jamie, his dad, goes, never knows, he may be going earlier. So there may be some mornings that I need to get him off to school. So I wanted to have some breakfast items here that I could just pull out, do something really quick for, and so forth. So I'm trying to get my hands and feet wet on doing freezer meals. So I only probably will get 2. Now let me tell you, there are some young ladies out there on YouTube land that, I mean to tell you, they can make 50 different freezer meals all in a 24-hour period and make it look super duper easy. Okay, that's not me. If you're wanting a real life person, they're real life. Don't get me wrong, they are real life, but they are pros at this. If you want a novice and to follow along with me as we do this, you sure can. So I know this first one I'm going to do is not necessarily going to be something I can just pull out and nuke. But if I have an early heads up, or it could be an after school snack, because I know he'll be getting off the bus here. It could be something that you need to think a little bit ahead, even though I'm going to put these in the freezer. We're making cinnamon rolls. I've made them before where we've refrigerated them and pulled them out the next morning, but we're actually going to freeze them, and so we'll have them, I can pull them out a little at a time or 1 or 2 at a time. It doesn't matter. So we're going to make those, and I know we're definitely going to make egg McMuffins. Do you like egg McMuffins at McDonald's? Well, that's what we're going to make. It's just going to be my version of a egg McMuffin. So with that being said, let's get started on these cinnamon rolls. Okay guys, I went and changed shirts so I wouldn't burn up, and to get a shirt I didn't really care about. It's a little wrinkled, so sorry. But let's get started on the dough. Let me tell you what you're going to need. You're going to need a cup of warm milk. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of sugar, a tablespoon of yeast. I use instant, but I use them interchangeably. So if you don't have instant yeast or the bread machine yeast, use regular yeast. I use them, I just grab whatever I have. I've got 3 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 egg, and a teaspoon of salt. Let me grab my milk and we will get started. Okay, y'all, I nuked the milk in the microwave for about a minute or maybe 45 seconds. I want to give it a stir just in case there's some hot spots. I don't want it to kill my yeast, but it's the perfect warm temperature in general. So We're going to pour this in my stand mixer. You guys know I normally like to mix my dough by hand, but we're going to let the mixer do the work today. I'm going to bring you guys over here where you can see. Okay, so to that, I'm going to go ahead and add my sugar and my yeast. And I'm just going to give it a quick little stir down. And we're going to wait and let the yeast come alive before we mix anything else in. Just to be sure my yeast is active. And that way, if it's not and I have to start over, the only thing I've wasted is the milk and the sugar. I haven't wasted the butter, the egg, the salt, and the flour. So we're just going to let this come alive, and I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like right now. It's just the little yeast beads floating in there, and we're going to wait and see. It's going to look kind of foamy and bubbly, and I'll bring you back when that happens. Okay guys, I don't know if you can see the difference there or not, but it is bubbling, it is active, and it is doing beautifully. So we can move ahead at this point. So to this, I'm going to go ahead and add in 3 tablespoons of melted butter, softened butter. It wasn't, all of it wasn't quite melted, but it's okay because it's going to get all mixed up in there. It's going to be wonderful. I have 1 egg here. It's going to crack. And if I had a fork, it would be better, but I'm just going to mix it up a little bit with my spatula here, just to get it a good start. And we're going in there. All right, let's head over to the stand mixer. We still have our salt to go, but I add it a little bit later. Let me grab my dough hook, if I can find it. Okay guys, we're over here at the stand mixer, and I have my dough hook on, and I'm just going to turn it on. We'll mix in that egg and butter. And we're going to start with approximately 3 cups of flour. And that's approximate. We'll wait and see exactly how much. But this is a 1/2 cup going in. A whole, a 1/2, and now that I'm going in with 2 cups, I'm actually going to go ahead and sprinkle my salt in. Sometimes salt can have a negative effect on your yeast, so we're going to let this go. And I'm just pushing that flour down so the dough hook can actually grab it, or the other dough can actually grab it. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead in. You can tell that is so wet. Here we are at 2.5 cups. You never want to turn, when you're working dough, you never want to turn it up past, 2 or 3. I don't like to ever do dough on high. We're just getting that flour down there so that dough can grab it. That's how we know if the dough is ready. It will pull away from the sides. Okay, so that was 2.5. So let's go ahead in with, here's 3. And we're going to let that go and see how that does. Alright, I wanted to show you. You can see that it is still sticking to the bottom. So that means we need to add a little bit more. And here's where I start adding a little bit less. I go in with 1/4 of a cup at a time. I'm going to turn it down. It's actually going too high. There we go. Now we're going to see if that pulls it away from the sides of the bowl without it falling back down and becoming sticky again. I think we need just a tad bit more. So we're going in with another approximate 1/4 of a cup. I'm just eyeballing it. Okay guys, I don't know if you got that on video, but you can see it's cleaned the sides of the bowl up. And I'm going to put just a sprinkle more. Just a little bit. There we go. And see how it's cleaned the sides of the bowl? So it is ready. All right, I'm going to let y'all watch me get this out. Oh, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Perfect dough. Okay, let's meet you over here at the island. Okay, so I'm going to have to use a rolling pin now at this point after I knead it for a little bit. But I wanted to explain my rolling pin situation. Y'all, I have this absolutely gorgeous rolling pin that one of my sweet viewers made me. Her husband made it for me. But one of my well-meaning family members stuck it in the dishwasher. And so it is in terrible need of a waxing. Well, I don't have any wax, so I can't wax it yet. And there is the beautiful knot in the wood right here. And where the wax is missing, that part of the wood catches the dough. So I'm not going to get, and this is the one I need to use because it doesn't have the handles and it's longer. This is the one I need to use. I've got to get me some wax on it. But I'm going to have to go old school with my old rolling pin. But back to the dough. All right, so I've got some flour out here, and I'm just going in here and getting this gorgeous, I mean, absolutely gorgeous dough out. And I'm trying not to leave any behind. Oh my goodness, it doesn't even need kneading, hardly. It is absolutely perfect. In fact, get some of that flour out of the way. All right, this is gorgeous. Let's see here. Let's see if it's got the spring back. Look at there. Pretty much has the spring back. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous dough. Oh, it feels so good. Y'all, I love to work dough. I love to work dough. And that's why I like to do it by hand. I don't know if you can see it good from the top, but let's look at it this angle. See how it comes back? So beautiful. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm not gonna mess up another bowl to let it rise in. We're gonna stick it right back in the dough, in the bowl, but I do wanna give it a good little spray. Just going to spray my mixing bowl with some spray, and we're just going to flop that down in there. I am going to get a towel. We have a towel here. Let me get you tilted up. I'm just going to cover it, and we're going to let it sit and rise for about an hour. I'm actually, if it'll fit in, I don't know if it'll fit in my oven. Probably not. But we're gonna find a warm spot for it to rise, and we're gonna let it sit for about an hour. We're gonna let it proof for about an hour. Hopefully it'll double in size, and then we will be ready to, and I'm actually gonna leave this flour out here on my counter. So while it's rising, we're gonna work on Egg McMuffins. So just disregard, don't look at the mess beside me because I'm leaving it out here for the cinnamon rolls. But let's get started. Let me clean up a little bit and let's get started on Egg McMuffins. Okay, y'all, so Isaac just called and he is hungry this morning. So he's gonna swing by and grab one of these. So I thought I would make half of them as, half of them to freeze and half of them to eat now because Daniel and Bryant are probably hungry. So, but we're gonna start out the same way. I start out with, I just bought Walmart brand English muffins and gonna give them a slice down. And the first thing I wanna do is kind of toast these up. I'm actually going to grab some melted butter real quick. All right, everybody, I'm just going to take some melted butter and brush these. We're going to fix all 6 just the same exact way up to a point. This starting point anyway. We're going to toast up the English muffins and get a little, I like a little crusty crunch to my English muffin. So I'm just putting a little bit of melted butter on there. All right, so you're going to get to see how we fix them both ways, to freeze them. And so these are going in. I'm just going to toast these up real quick. Okay guys, what I'm doing now is I've got these little ramekins. You can use a coffee mug, anything like that, and I'm just giving it a little spray. You could put a pat of butter if you wanted to. It's just easier for me to grab the spray. Got some eggs here. I'm just gonna drop an egg in each one. I'll actually have to use 2 of these twice because I am making 6 because I had 6 English muffins. All right, there we go. All right, let me get some salt and pepper and a fork because I like to mix my egg up a little bit. If you want the yellow in the center, don't mix it. I'm just gonna get some salt, pepper, and I'll be right back. All right, so we're just going to salt and pepper these just a little bit. All right, and I just take a fork, give it a light, doesn't have to be majorly mixed. You can put these in the microwave. You can put these in the air fryer, wherever you want to do them out, or you can do them in a frying pan on the stove. I'm just trying to get several done at one time, so these are going in the microwave. Okay, everybody, here's where the differences come in. I'm going to bring these over here that we're going to put into the freezer, and I'm going to leave these on the tray. Let's see if I can get it over here where you can see it. These are the ones we're going to do to keep. So the ones we're going to have today, I'm just going to put a piece of Canadian bacon on it, a piece of cheese, all right, and we're going back in the oven under convection bake for just a minute, just to melt the cheese and to warm the Canadian bacon, and they'll be ready. Okay, so here are the ones that we're going to make into freezer meals. So we're going to just do the same thing. We're going to put the Canadian bacon on. We'll put the cheese on. here are how our eggs came out of the little ramekins. When I had 4 in there, I did it at 3 minutes. When I put the other 2, I did it at 2 minutes. And so I think 2 minutes would be plenty. You just need to watch it. They do puff up, but then they shrink back down. So, okay, so now we're going to put this egg McMuffin, or egg, on here. We're going to put the top on. Okay. So now, I would normally wrap these in saran wrap and then tin foil, but I know somebody in my family will come in here and grab these and just stick them in the microwave, and that saran wrap will melt all on it. So I've got some parchment paper here that I'm going to wrap them in first. That way, if they heat this up, it's okay. And I have some tin foil. We're going to just wrap it up. There is breakfast sandwich number 1. Oh, these are tearing. I may need to get regular tin foil. These are those little tin foil sheets, but I may need to get, yeah, I'm going to have to get regular tin foil. The parchment papers are breaking them. So let me grab some tin foil. All right, that's much better. And in fact, I'm going to wrap this in a piece of tin foil, just in case it rips. Now, I said they put it in the microwave. They would not put the tin foil in the microwave. I meant if they put it in the air fryer or something like that. So here we have some Egg McMuffins ready for the freezer, and they just have to pull them out one at a time whenever they want them. Caroline will probably be the beneficiary of some of these. Now, I'm just doing this as a trial run, like to get my feet wet on making freezer meals. Okay, so now that they're ready, I'm just going to stick them in a large Ziploc bag. I'm going to label the bag. And we have freezer Egg McMuffins. Now, you can all means do this on a larger scale. I had planned on freezing all of them, but since Isaac is hungry, we did some ready for now. Okay, everyone, Isaac has already eaten his, and Bryant is here to eat his Egg McMuffin, homemade Egg McMuffin.
Homemade Egg McMuffin, cheese, egg, Canadian bacon, and toasted
English muffin.
English muffin. Here we go.
Mmm. Mmm. Now you can doctor that up with mayonnaise or mustard or whatever you want to put on it. I leave it just plain and up to the person who's eating it.
It's toasted really good.
Got his mouth full.
Flavor is really good. You know what my first reaction is?
What?
Ba-da-da-da-da, I'm loving it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's really good.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. So we'll come back now that the English muffins are done. I have the bag here of the 3, and either Isaac can take these home with him or Caroline can take them, either one.
Or they can stay here.
Or they can stay here. Freezer meal number 1. Now we're fixing, the cheeseburger from yesterday is fixing to get gone again. I think Isaac's taking my box of cheeseburger casserole.
I had it for dinner last night. It was pretty good.
He said it was pretty good. Okay, so go back and check yesterday's video for that.
You'll make the McGriddle tomorrow?
McGriddle? No, I'm not making a McGriddle. But anyway, so stay tuned. We've got more freezer meals, and we're going to finish up the cinnamon rolls in just a second. Okay, everyone, here is our dough. It is ready. So we're just going to punch it down a little bit. and give it a knead or two. All right, so now I'm going to get out my rolling pin. Not the one I want, but anyway. And we're going to roll this out into a good rectangle. Okay, this is pretty thin, and we're getting it out into a rectangle. Okay, I have here a stick of melted butter. I'm going to get my brush, and we're just, whoops, I poured it off. You might want to bring your sides up a little bit so they don't come off. And we're just going to,
Did you use that same rolling net? Did you use that same rolling net? No.
we're going to clean this up and just rub the brush on over it. All right. So now I have a cup of brown sugar over here. And so to that cup of brown sugar, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. All right, and I'm just going to take my hands and mix it together. All right. Okay, and then we're just going to sprinkle this, and we want to go all the way to the short ends. But the long ends we can leave a little gap. But you want to get as much of this good stuff on here. Now you could add raisins if you wanted raisins. You could, pecans, oh that would be delicious. Like some nut rolls, that would be wonderful. But we're just going to stop with the cinnamon rolls right now. This is so easy. That dough just came together so easy. All right, so now I'm just going to take my hands and give it a good little spread around, like so. Okay, and you just want to start rolling, and you go from one side to the other, and you kind of keep it rolled pretty tight. And I may have rolled it a little too thin because I can see I'm sticking my finger through it on down here. I got it a little thin on one end, but that's okay because we're going to cover it up. We're just going to keep rolling. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. And then when we get over here to the end, we're just going to kind of bring the seam and kind of turn it over on the seam. We're going to let it sit on the seam. Right over there is where I spilt the butter. Okay, so now it's sitting on the seam. There we go. All right, now let me grease my pans. I'm going to show you how I'm going to freeze some, and we may stick some in the refrigerator and bake some off for later. I'm not sure. We may freeze all of these. So hang tight, I'll decide. Okay, so I normally fill up a big 9x13 pan. So I'm not sure how many pans it's going to take because I want to do them in 2 separate bundles because these we may have tonight and these are what we're going to freeze. So I may need another pan. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure. This freezer meal thing came in so handy. Isaac came and he took the Egg McMuffins to go home to freeze, and he got out that cheeseburger casserole from yesterday's freezer meal. So this is a good time to start trying this. Okay, so I've picked out a serrated knife, and I'm just going to cut about 1 inch or so thick. These we may have tonight. All right. Now, we're going to put the ones that go into the freezer right into the freezer. The ones that I may have tonight for supper or for dessert, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap them up, stick them in the refrigerator. The freezer ones, you will want to get out about, get those out, I'd say 1.5 hours before you want to bake them, and let them sit out, thaw, and rise. I'm assuming 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours, and then you'll just bake them as normal. I will give the actual recipe in the description down below, and I am just filling this pan up. I am leaving a little bit of room because they will rise again, but I'm not leaving a lot of room, as you can see. These are going to be so good, y'all. And I will leave the recipe down below for the glaze and everything. I use a wonderful, oh my goodness, the glaze is so good. The original recipe called for like a cream cheese glaze, and it was too cream cheesy to me. I was not a fan. So what I did was I cut the cream cheese way, way down. Way down. There we go. All right, these are going to go in the fridge. I'm going to wrap those up with tin foil. We may take one out of there, depending on how these go. Yeah, we'll take one out. There we go. All right, so I'm going to wrap these up, and these are going in the freezer. I'm probably going to put saran wrap, tin foil, and then into a plastic bag. So, all right. So I'll probably bring you guys back tonight when we bake these off. That way you can see the glaze and how good it is. But I'm going to get these wrapped up, stick them in the fridge so the rising will kind of slow down and stop, and then we'll be ready to eat them tonight. Okay guys, I have them all wrapped up, but I want to label the bag. I'm going to put thaw and rise approximately 2 hours. Okay. All right. Now, these are going in here, if I can find what I did with them. Here they are. And they can bake them right in this pan. I hope it'll fit. If not, we'll just keep wrapping it with tin foil. Oh, it's not going to fit, y'all. Oh, yeah, it is. It'll fit. Let me work on it. Okay, so those are the only two I'm going to do today. I could go further and do more, but I want to perfect everything, and I don't want to make any huge mistakes. So that's my suggestion to you too. If you've never done a lot of freezer meals, just start somewhere and just start with a couple. Don't overwhelm yourself and feel like my initial thought on this is that I needed to be like those ladies who do 20 different types of meals, and they do 100 of each of them to fill their freezer. I don't do that on a regular basis. I don't know how to do that and do it efficiently and do it well. So it's best for me to start slow, start small, and something I can handle. And it still was about lunchtime, I guess. And I can now clean up, and I don't feel stressed. I've accomplished something. I feel good about it. So, all right. So just stay tuned, because this video is not over. We are going to bake off the refrigerator cinnamon rolls, and we'll send the other ones with Caroline. Since Isaac took the Egg McMuffins, we'll send the cinnamon rolls with Caroline. She can fix those on the weekend, or, you know, maybe at night for a dessert. So, with that being said, let's get to cleaning up now. Ugh. Well, it's the next day. We didn't get to eat our cinnamon rolls last night, so we're going to today. So the first thing I'm going to do is, the recipe calls for, as far as the glaze, I have my rolls out of the refrigerator. They are rising. I pull them out about 45 minutes and let them rise for about 45 minutes. The recipe for the glaze is very cream cheesy, and I didn't like it quite so twangy with the cream cheese, but I felt like it needed a little bit. So where the recipe, my original recipe called for a lot of cream cheese, I'm only going to take just about that much. What is that? What would you say? 2 ounces? I would say 2 ounces of cream cheese. That is it. And what I'm going to do, it is softened, but I'm not going to get a mixer out or anything. I'm just going to do this by hand. So I'm going to nuke that just for a little bit. And yeah, I'm just going to nuke that for just a little bit, just to soften it a little bit more. And then we'll move on with the glaze. Let me just say, I'm going to try to do this without getting a mixer out. I just didn't want to get anything out. And I'm going to go in with half a stick of butter. Well, that cream cheese got super soft, so I'm going to let that butter sit in there with that warm cream cheese for a minute. And then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so my oven is preheated to 325, and we're just getting the glaze ready. I kind of got that cream cheese a little too soft, but that's okay. So I have mixed the butter and cream cheese together. There you go. And so to that, we're going to add 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. And since I got it so soft, I may add a little bit more, but we're going to start with the 1.5 cups. All right. And so here with the, I have some water here to mix in. I have some vanilla. And it's just going to make a simple, slightly cream cheese glaze. Nothing major. All right, so let's go ahead in with the vanilla. And I put the vanilla first because then that will determine how much water goes in. I'd rather have the flavor. All right, so it's probably going to take about 6 tablespoons. This is just a teaspoon, so I'm going to go ahead and put like 3 in. 3 tablespoons, so that's, well, let's stop with 2. And when I get it soft enough, I will change to a whisk. This is going to be so good, y'all. These cinnamon rolls, oh my goodness, they are delicious. All right, let's move that out of the way. Let's change to a whisk so we can get it really good. I'm going to just put just a little bit more water, not much. I like a thin glaze because I like it to kind of coat it. There's a little bit more vanilla in there. I'm splashing. All right, guys, our glaze is made. There you go. I probably put, what, 3 tablespoons in there of water, but you just do it till you get a good consistency. I like a runny consistency like that. Like I said, just because I like a thin glaze. And this will set up a little bit as we wait. I haven't even put the cinnamon rolls in the oven yet. My oven is preheating to 325. I've had them out for about 30 minutes. Let me show you how they've risen. I haven't even looked myself. So let's see what they look like. Beautiful. They're rising so gorgeous. So, okay, we're going to let them keep rising. We'll put them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll glaze them with that delicious glaze, and it is going to be so good. The cinnamon rolls are smelling delicious, but I did want to come on here and say that the ones we froze, now these are just the ones I had in the refrigerator. The ones we froze, of course you'll need to leave sitting out longer. You'll need to thaw them and then allow them to rise. So I'm thinking at least 2 hours to pull them out. But glaze couldn't be any easier. Just a little bit of cream cheese. You don't even have to have the cream cheese, but if you like a little bit of that cream cheese, just use just a little bit. Butter, powdered sugar, some vanilla, and then just thin it down with water. Couldn't be any easier. So I cannot wait to pull these out of the oven. I'm so excited. Okay, everyone, look at those cinnamon rolls. Don't they look delicious? I should have probably spread them out a little more to give them more room to rise, but I didn't. And so this is actually going to be enough icing for the other cinnamon rolls as well. And I'm probably going to give those to Caroline. So I'm going to put this icing in a container, what I have left, and give to her for her cinnamon rolls, because I'm sure she'll probably have them one night this week, or even maybe Saturday morning. And if she sticks this in the refrigerator, it'll be fine. She might have to heat it up, but we're going to be sure we get plenty on these. Bryant and Daniel are at the chicken house. If you're new here, Bryant is my husband, and Daniel works on the farm with us. And so I told them once they get done with the chickens today to come and get them a cinnamon roll. And I believe that is a good amount of icing right there. I think we're all good. Maybe a little bit more on that one. All right. So I'm going to pack this icing up for Caroline, because we're going to send her home with the other cinnamon rolls. So as soon as they get here, we'll have them give you a taste test. It's obviously taken a little bit longer at the farm than what they had anticipated. The cinnamon rolls are cold, but anyway, I thought while we're waiting on them to get here, I would tell you that you can freeze these as well. And I was just going to tell you how I was going to do it. I'm going to take a cookie sheet like this and pull those cinnamon rolls apart and set them separately, and be sure to get as much of that good glaze I can on each of them, and just stick that cookie sheet in to the freezer and let them flash freeze separately. Once they are good and frozen, I'm going to grab them out, put them in a bag, and then I just pull them out as I want one. Now, they probably will be a little bit tough or tougher than they are at this point. But that's okay. If you need a quick sweet treat, that's fine. So I'm actually going to be freezing. I have frozen pre-risen, pre-baked cinnamon rolls. And I will have some to freeze that have already been baked off. And all you have to do is just heat them up. Pull it out, let it thaw, heat it up in the microwave. So good. Okay, so that's it for the cinnamon rolls. Last thing we'll do is let them taste it, although it's cold, so I don't know, they're not going to be not as nice and fluffy as they were when they first come out of the oven, but hey, they should have been here. I told them it was going to be ready. Okay, everybody, they finally got here. I had to heat them in the microwave, so they're not as nice and soft and fluffy as they were when they came out.
But they look really good.
So we're going to see what Daniel and Bryant think.
Here we go. We're digging in. Got somebody coming beside me here. All right, here we go. You want a bite?
Daniel shook his head yes.
Yeah, I give it a 15 out of 10.
15 out of 10. Woohoo!
How's that, buddy? Is that from scratch?
From scratch. Made the dough, let it rise and everything.
That is phenomenal. They did the cinnamon and everything?
Yep.
And
Everything.
Made the glaze?
Made everything. Everything is homemade from scratch.
Pillsbury ain't got nothing on you, Mama.
All right, what do y'all guys want to drink?
Milk.
Milk. Okay, guys, there you have it. I got to get them some milk. Don't forget to make these. They are so delicious. You can freeze them, you can put them in the refrigerator, or you can bake them right up. So, thank you guys for watching. Remember, if the grease is hot enough, you can fry anything. Bye, y'all.